What is up, Packer fans? They did it. They won the 205th meeting against the Chicago Bears. The Green Bay Packers finally did what I've been saying all week. The formula for winning: run the football and play good defense. Oh my gosh. I was really on about a lot of things this week. The score was getting close to my prediction. It looked like it could easily be 31-17 when it was, what was it, 24-10 if they both would have scored another touchdown. It looked like the Bears were about to, and then it looked like the Packers would have needed to if the Bears would have. I prefer the Bears being stopped on 4th and 1. That was a crazy play. Looked like you could almost see the ball, but it looked like it didn't touch the plane. Packers ran the football for 203 yards. They did give up 180 80 yards on the ground to the Bears, but the Bears only threw the ball for 48 yards. Under 50 yards passing for the Chicago Bears. Like I said, they ran the ball. Montgomery got a free on, I think they had two carries that went for like 50 yards later in the game. But that was when the Packers are playing more of a prevent defense towards the end. But yeah, it was still kind of close. If the Packers would have given up that touchdown, it would have been a real close game. At that point, it would have been a touchdown game. So that was huge. And the Packers couldn't get a lot going in the second half. I think they only scored 3 points in the second half. So you'd like to see them do more there. Obviously, the Bears made some adjustments, but for the most part, Packers dominated this game from the beginning to the end. The defense showed up. Wow, did they ever show up. They looked great. The pass rush, getting after Justin Fields, kind of keeping them in front of him for the most part. Quay Walker, his speed is undeniable. And then on the back end, the guys really were communicating much better than last week. Savage and Amos playing in position, and it looked like these cornerbacks were on point. We all saw Jair Alexander. Told him not to mess with him. He looked like he got shot out of a cannon and crossed the field. I could see what Fields was thinking when he threw the ball, but Jair, great catch-up speed and got in front of it. Player of the game, I was saying it all night on Twitter, at S_Joseph_K, that Aaron Jones is the best player on the field. Give this guy the ball. 15 carries, 132 yards. That's an 8.8 yard average. That is insane. After last week, he might, if he continues these numbers, he might have the highest average in a season for a running back. This is insanity. 36-yard long, 1 touchdown on the ground. He also had 3 catches, 38 yards, and a touchdown through the air. A.J. Dillon had 18 carries. So Aaron Jones had 15 carries. A.J. Dillon had 18 carries. That's 33 carries. That is right where we want to be. They both had, Aaron Jones had 3 catches. I think Dillon only had 1 catch. So you'd like to get A.J. Dillon in the pass game more, but 18 carries, 61 yards. That's only a 3.4 yard average for A.J. Dillon. But 3.4, if you do that every single time, that's a first down on every 3 carries. So, good enough for me. That's where you want to be. Exactly at 3.4. Really, 3.3, you'd be at 9.9. 3.4, you cross the 10-yard line, or the 10-yard mark. So he's grinding out all the tough yards. Early on, it looked like he was running into his blockers a little bit. I would have wanted him to, do some more cutting, but he is more of a straight-ahead runner. Aaron Jones is able to shift. You could just, as soon as Aaron Jones got the ball, it looked like he was running, and you didn't think that he was going to get past the line of scrimmage, and then all of a sudden, he finds a seam, squeaks through, and he's 10 yards down the field. He was amazing to watch. He truly was the best player on the field last night. I just was so excited to see him out there really getting the chances and the carries and the touches that he deserves. And obviously, he did not disappoint. Pretty much the player of the game with what did he have total? Almost, wow, yeah, 170 yards total. 2 touchdowns on 18 touches. That is super impressive for Aaron Jones. Sammy Watkins. So the Packers only really did one deep shot during the game. Last week they did the one deep shot to Christian Watson. He dropped it. That was the first play of the game. This week they did the deep shot to Sammy Watkins, who I said the Packers should have done it to last week. A guy who has been in that position before. Watkins catches the ball, 55-yard bomb, and this was like 2nd and 11 when the Packers were way backed up in their own territory after that big stop on 4th down. Was a huge play. Sammy Watkins only had 2 catches for like 40 yards before that, which was still pretty good. He was playing well. Randall Cobb had a lot of nice catches at 3rd down and 8, so it was 2nd and 28. Packers run a screen play to Romeo Doubs. He uses his blockers well, gets 20 yards. That's crazy for a 2nd and 28 play. Then you have 3rd and 8. Rodgers hits Cobb on an amazing pass right for like 8.5 yards right over the 1st down. Randall Cobb also had a really nice catch, another play where it was like a seam route. I haven't posted the video, but he was running a seam route and caught it right on the sidelines and got down. It was Aaron Rodgers, 19 to 25, 76% completion percentage, which is way above like the 68%, which is where you want your quarterbacks normally to be at. 234 yards, a modest amount of yards. 2 touchdowns, which is what I called. I called Rodgers 2 touchdowns through the air. No picks, 141.7 QBR. I called that. I called Aaron Jones having a touchdown on the ground, maybe 1 through the air. I called Aaron Rodgers having 2 touchdowns through the air. I did pick 31-17, but it was close, 27-10. That is a, it's a good win, 17-point win. The defense came to play finally. Wow, yeah. Preston Smith had 2 sacks last night. He's got 2 this year already now, and so does Rashan Gary. He's got 2 on his way to my 15-sack prediction on the season. He's got 2. He got 1 last night. He had 1 last week against the Vikings. So good to see there. And then, like I said, Jair Alexander did get the interception. So 3 sacks, 1 pick. Really a impressive performance by the defense. You could tell early on, after that first drive, the Bears drove it down the field and scored a touchdown. Packers were only able to muster a field goal on their first drive, and they got the ball first. So they were down 3-7. That Packers defense came out. It got loud at Lambeau, and this Packers defense just went after him. There was a 3-play series where the first play, Preston Smith gets to him, sacks Justin Fields, came around the backside. Fields thought he had time, and the ball squeaked out after he hit the ground. But so now it's 2nd and 15. Now the Bears do a swing play, kind of a screen to Darnell Mooney, and he's 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, so he's down back at the 10-yard line because the Packers coverage team kept pinning this Bears team so deep in their own territory. I don't think they really got past the 20-yard line much of the entire night. But then, so they were from 1st and 10 at the 20. They got bumped back to 2nd and 15 at the 15. Now, on the 2nd down play, Mooney on the swing out catches it, and Douglas sticks him. Nice tackle. Rasul Douglas gets him for 5-yard loss. That's a huge tackle for a loss. Now, it's basically 3rd and 20, and Bears are backed up on their own 10-yard line. They have to throw it to, they threw out of the backfield to Montgomery. Montgomery catches it, but Douglas is there, and it looked like Montgomery kind of slipped, but Douglas makes the stop, and the Bears are forced to punt. Huge series early on, really set the tone for the game for this Packers defense. Like I said, we know that the Bears ran the ball pretty well. Let me see what the total yards. Oh, Montgomery did have 122 yards on 15 carries. That's solid. He did have some decent runs. Khalil Herbert, only 38 yards, but they both had a 28 and 27-yard long, respectively. They couldn't get anything going in the pass game, though. Equinemius St. Brown had 2 receptions, 39 yards, a 30-yard long. He did burn Jair Alexander on that one, which I did not expect to see, but who knows what the route count or what the route scheme was on that, or the coverage scheme was on that. Otherwise, no other receivers for the Bears caught a pass. Darnell Mooney, 0 catches, 0 yards. Byron Pringle, 0 catches, 0 yards. Oh, no, Darnell Mooney had 1 catch for -4 yards. Sorry. He did have that one in the backfield. But to me, that would be more of a pass or a run. I would, because it was behind the line of scrimmage, but I guess they counted as a pass. But still, Equinemius St. Brown and Darnell Mooney, only 3 catches between the receivers. Only 48 yards. Well, Fields had 70 yards throwing total himself, but with the sacks, it was 48 yards for the team as a whole in the pass game. But Packers came out, did exactly what they needed to do. Kept saying all week that Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon need 30-plus touches, 35 even, and with the 33 plus 4, that's 37. So right where we need to be, and look, it creates a win. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers played great football, really was on most of his throws. He had some that he was off, some that he would have liked back, I'm sure. But it was great to see Alan Lazard get back in the mix. He had only 2 catches for 13 yards, but he did have a touchdown. Awesome to see him back in the game. Christian Watson had a few little jet sweep, getting them the ball quick, which are technically passes because they toss it up, but Watson got popped on some of them, but he got up and he looks like he's going to be good to go. Romeo Doubs, really a nice play on that screen. Randall Cobb played well, like I said, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys who caught passes from Aaron Rodgers. That is really, really huge when Aaron Rodgers has so many different weapons at his disposal. Starting to create trust with a lot of these guys, starting to create a little bit of a rapport with Sammy Watkins. Remember, Sammy Watkins was the 4th pick in the 2013 NFL Draft out of Clemson by Buffalo. This guy has talent. He has talent. Just physical, raw tools. He is super explosive, and he is a really good player, for real. And so if he can stay healthy and we can get him on the same page with Rodgers, he can really make plays for this team, and we saw that last night with a 55-yard bomb. Still needs to get his first touchdown pass, but I think that's coming soon. He'll get his Lambeau leap. But the Packers do have to worry about a familiar foe, Tom Brady and the Buccaneers in Tampa next week for the Packers. But initial reactions, I just loved the fact that the Packers got back to running the ball, 203 yards on the ground. That's huge. Obviously, giving up 180 yards on the ground, you'd prefer not to. But holding a team to 48 yards total, passing it, that you can live with. Teams nowadays in the NFL aren't normally going to beat you by just running the football. You need to be able to pass it, and you have to have over 48 yards, 70 yards without the sacks, but you have to have some pass yards. You have to be able to open it up, stretch the field, get chunk plays, score quickly, things of that nature in the NFL. Running the football how the Packers did can be very effective in the formula to winning, but you also need good quarterback play, good defensive play, and the Packers got all of that against the Bears. 205th meeting, the Packers are now up 104-95-6 in the all-time meeting. Matt LaFleur goes to 7-0 against the Bears in his career. Rodgers goes from 22-5 in the regular season. I kept saying 22-5. It was 23-5 all time before last night with that playoff game, the NFC Championship game. That was the only time that Rodgers played them in the playoffs. I meant regular season. That's why I kept saying 22-5, but then I'd say all time, which meant more like I was including the playoffs. However, I was not. Now it is 23-5 in the regular season, 24-5 all time, including playoffs, just to clarify that. But Huge moments last night. Just seeing Elkin Jenkins back in the game, having John Runyon Jr. back out there, just Alan Lazard's presence. And you could see him on running plays, blocking out there against corners, setting this edge. He cracked back on Roquan Smith on the Aaron Jones rushing touchdown, which, or maybe it was the pass, the one where it was, oh no, it was counted a run. But either way, he has a huge part in all different aspects of the Packers team, and for him to be back, score a touchdown, get back in the mix, catch some passes, was huge for Alan Lazard. But really, it does all start up front with the big guys. Elkin Jenkins at right tackle. We saw him get burned by Robert Quinn, and Quinn got the sack, and it was third down, and Packers were forced to punt. But you want to have him get that out of the way. You also saw him push his guy 12 yards downfield on a running play and have A.J. Dillon foul right behind him for 10 yards. Having him back is huge. He is a guy that really can dominate that right side. He just shores up everything over there. Yeah, he had one play or so, maybe two plays all game that he would like to have back, but that's a lot better than having 6 or 7, So I love seeing him back out there. He's just such a good, young, smart kid. The players love having him on the team, and he's gonna fight to the end with these guys. So awesome to see Elkin Jenkins back. A big E, number 74. I'm so pumped that this offensive line, if we can get Bakhtiari back sooner than later, it'll be huge for us. Like I said, we have Tampa Bay this week at Tampa. It's going to be loud. If we can have Bakhtiari and Jenkins out there, it really does increase our chances. Obviously, Yash has played well, but we saw him get smoked by Robert Quinn as well, I think. Yeah, pretty sure it was Robert Quinn. Had those guys' numbers up front. But otherwise, after they got beat once, it was Travis Gibson. Robert Quinn only got the one, I think it was. But yeah, Gibson got 2. So yeah, Bears had 3 sacks, but still, when you have all those moving parts on the offensive line, that's not that bad. You don't want any more than 3 sacks, but 3 sacks you can live with. You prefer 0, obviously, but 2 is about, average, and 3 is kind of the threshold of where you want to be past. 4, 5, 6, 7, like Burrow, you don't want to be there because it's tough to win. You just put yourself behind the chain so many times, and it really is wild to think that Burrow had so much success after, getting sacked so much, but he was able to figure it out. But anyway, so a lot of great games yesterday in the NFL. Packers ended it off with a 27-10 victory over their rival, the Chicago Bears. Just another really exciting day. We know that Rodgers threw his first touchdown passes, got back in the mix. Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon got the ball going, got the run game going. The defense finally showed up. You really could tell the energy was there. Really could sense that they wanted to prove that last week was nothing and that it won't define their season. And then on special teams, I'm going to just talk special teams quick. Amari Rodgers, for the most part, had a good night. He had a nice 20-yard return on a punt, which was explosive. It was a really good play. He also did muff one, but he did get it back, and there was a holding penalty anyway on that. So all in all, he lucked out. He should get chewed out for the muff, but he did clean it up, and otherwise, he did really well. Kickoff returns, he didn't get a lot of opportunities. I thought he would because, I thought the Bears would score maybe a little bit more. However, he let the ball go over his head, didn't really mess with it if, it was going into the end zone. And then on punts, he did fine. But punt coverage was excellent. Punting was excellent. Pat O'Donnell had a 70-yard punt. And then field goals, Mason Crosby is 100% on the season. He made both his field goal attempts, and he made all his extra points so far this season. So, all in all, out of 2 weeks, Crosby 100% kicking. And this kick coverage unit, they're finally figuring it out. I think the Bears' average starting line had to be under the 25-yard line. I think they only had one where they got any farther than that. and it was later on in the game. So I think it was after that last field goal the Packers got, they got a little bit of a return. But for the most part, the Packers coverage team played really well. So had the Bears backed up like within their 20-yard line a few times, and just really effective. And I'm not sure who was making all those tackles on a lot of those plays. I think I can maybe look here quick and kind of get an idea, because I know who the starting guys were. Oh, well, they don't have special teams guys on the defense of statistics on this that I'm looking at. So it just shows that, Darnell Savage, 6 tackles, that led the team. That's huge. And Campbell, only 4 tackles. You want more out of him. But seems like the running backs were hitting that second level and getting to the third level pretty quick. But Amos had 3 tackles. Savage had 6, which is not what you want to see. You want your middle linebackers to have more of those tackles, but still really a good game all in all for this defense. I'm sure there's some plays, some situations that they'd like to clean up, but they did well. Offense did well. Special teams, like I just said, did really well. All in all 3 phases came together for the Packers win. I'm super excited. It really does make your whole week better. I will get into more of an in-depth Packers-Bears final matchup, stats and everything later on, but I just wanted to do my first initial reactions to the game. Obviously, a lot of excitement going into it, a lot of anticipation going into it, and you just wanted to see the Packers do what everybody thought they would do, which is win. The Bears team, everybody kind of thought wasn't going to be as good going into this season. But after last week's win against the 49ers, everybody kind of would question, well, what kind of team do we have? What kind of team are the Packers? And we'll see what happens at Lambeau. And so for the Packers to come out and kind of win in such a dominant fashion, score the points they did, and stop the Bears from scoring points, pretty much stop the Bears from doing pretty much anything. Throwing the ball, it's a passing league, and if you can't pass the ball, you're not going to win. Obviously, you need to be able to run the ball, but you also need to be able to pass the ball. Look at the Dolphins yesterday. Pretty crazy. Tua. I've been saying Tua's accuracy is king, and he's got it. So, anyway, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Watch other Packer videos and check out different content about everything Packers. Go Pack Go. 1-1, baby. 1-1. Going down to Tampa Bay next week. 3:25 on Fox. But for now, until next time, thank you guys. Thanks for watching. Peace out. Go Packers. They won. Let's get this 7-game win streak like we did last year, and we'll be good to go. All right, guys. Thanks again for watching, and I'll check you guys out in the next one. Peace.